aware of that most recent words in that field. As you know, that's been applied here as well. I'm trying to think of anything else I can tell you. Is there any other questions that anyone wants to know?
Did the university go request for it?
Yes. It's well, funny enough, it's kind of. I asked someone to show me where we actually requested it, and no one can. It's kind of just an understanding that it's a good target range. So it's not written down anywhere, but it will be as a result of realising we had to put it down. That's part of our commitment, forward. Anything else, anyone?
How is it
Funded? Yeah, good question. It's a joint, as I mentioned, it's a joint venture. So it's 50-50 between us and the University of Kent. So I mentioned it's 4.6 million total budget, so 2.3 each, which is obviously quite comforting for each institution. They're getting something for twice what they're paying for as a share. You may notice if you're all Greenwich students, you know about SUGS, this University of Greenwich. We don't work under the SUGS banner here, it's under GK unions. If you looked at as we came in, everything's purple, the hoarding, and we don't run under Greenwich University or Kent Union. We run under University GKU, which is Greenwich and Kent Union, which is a combination, just to confuse everyone, but it works here. Okay. Anything else?
From the council?
In terms of?
In terms of the design and whatever you want to change in the first place?
No, just to see a friend asked if there any problems from the council in terms of the change, which should kind of be a few of you have asked me individually, if you're referring to like the listing, I suppose. Very little actually. Forgive me, I've said this to a couple of you already, but individually. But because we've got quite a good relationship with the conservation officer and the planning officer here, because the whole campus is listed, everything's listed, everything we do, so we know them relatively well. And I think they were quite amenable to actually see the building saved. Because if you think of its location, it's surrounded by an A road and a university. It's a swimming pool with no through access. I mean, it's got nothing going for it whatsoever in terms of realistically, the only people ever to save this building were going to be us. So the fact we committed to do it, and our need wasn't a swimming pool, I think they understood it's going to be us or no one. So they'd rather someone do it. And as always, they've got their limitations that ours take it to, but we respect that. Our architects, who you saw earlier on, Danny Johnson, are actually conservation architects. They specialise in restoration of old buildings. And so, with that knowledge, with that relationship, and a bit of compromise on both sides, that it went through first time. They're very happy with what we're doing. So there's a new concept from conservation officers now, rather than stick to their guns and say no to everything and let the place fall down. If someone's prepared to invest, a significant amount of money and save the building, it's for the greater good, really, isn't it? Sorry, I can't hear you.
1.6 million, is that quite a lot?
Yeah, we've got to consider it's not just construction costs. There's the consultancy element. If any of you work for consultancies, you'll know what percentages you pay for. I can run through 10 consultants we've got on this. We've got architects, structural engineers, mechanical engineers, BREEAM consultants, project quantity surveyors, project managers, environmental acoustic studies. I might have gone through one of this. There's more. That was 8 immediately, and there is some more as well.
What's the majority of the cost going into building?
Yeah, building is the largest percentage. Oh, so what is?
What are you building?
Well, phase 1 was what you're looking at, as I described phase 1, it's just shy of £1 million. So that is the larger, no, it's not actually the larger part. I think M&E or phase 1 will probably be the largest elements. As I mentioned, we've tendered phase 1, that's confirmed, that's just coming just under £1 million. The rest of it, we are working out as we stand, so we're not quite sure what the full commitment of phase 2. We've got a budget which we're working to, obviously, but we haven't got those fixed costs just yet, but within the next month or so that'll be fixed. So I did answer your question, which is the largest element. It's this, followed by M&E, is the answer. But what we're finding, interestingly, finding a contractor to do phase 1 has gone quite well. M&E, those of you who are working may know how hard it is to get M&E contractors at present. It's proving the market's very buoyant at the moment. We're on the peripheries of where people go to work. For instance, the London contractors. When the times are good, everything goes to London. That's where the money is. we are close enough to London to suffer from that people paying, the larger margins are going to go to London. One of the reasons actually we went for Cardi, we tried, in fact not just for Cardi, but the group of contractors who we asked to tender for phase one are not London based. We looked at Kent and Sussex, particularly these guys come from the Kent coast down from Folkestone Sandwich area. They're quite big in the Kent environment, but they specialise more local work. They don't gravitate towards the fast buck in London. So it's a little bit more certainty that we're their sort of client they look for, rather than the larger or the faster companies that perhaps will go to the office fit out or the multinationals in London. So you see our ethos behind our contractor selection, to try and go for someone who's a bit more steady, not so interested in the London market. But the M&E element is now causing us a problem. That I think we had 6 tenderers, 1 declined before tender, and 2 have not returned the tender, which is very disappointing. If a contractor pulls out, it's good to know it, because you're not getting it. But to get to the point where your tenders are in and you're expecting 5, you end up with 3. Obviously, your span of, you want to know what the market rate is. You're only looking at comparable 3 rather than comparable 5. But that's a topic that I'm actually looking at the present, to try and figure out what the next move is in terms of who we appoint for our M&E contractor. Unless anyone else,
do you tender in stages for the works? Or
yeah, what we're trying to do, we're quite happy with the appointment of Cardi for phase 1, and what we're considering is doing basically an open tender exercise for what is phase 2, and that's the fit out elements. What we're doing, we're breaking them down into about 5 or 6 work packages. We are, as in University of Greenwich, are tendering, so it's open, presenting that back to Cardi. So we say this is what the price, and they will appoint as a domestic subcontractor the chosen contractor on these 6 or so packages, and apply a percentage profit and overhead to a management fee to manage those individual packages. But I think there's going to be 6 or 7 work packages, and we've got 4 out to tender, we've still got 3 more to go. So until those other 3 are out and back, and we know it's that plus that plus that plus that plus that equals X. So that's the work that's ongoing at the present moment.
Can I ask, what exactly is your role?
Secret, can't tell you.
What's your job title?
My job title is Campus Facilities Manager. I mentioned to a few of you up there, this isn't my proper job. My job is running the Greenwich estate and the shared estate from a facilities perspective, but I actually volunteered to do this. My title is Client Project Manager. So we've got professional project manager running the construction element. But because we've got joint funders, as in Kent and Greenwich universities, but the occupier is the student union. So the student union's operation is funded by Kent and Greenwich. So we've got the end occupier is not actually the owner. The owner is retained by the universities. So there's a lot of talking required. There's a lot of communication. There's a lot of requirements, demands. I've got to balance that against specification levels. So my job is basically, I know every component part, everyone involved in it. I'm basically the glue that when there's a problem, I make sure they know about it, and there's an issue or there's a resolution, and it goes back this way. So I'm just basically a man with a big stick, poking people. And my secondary reason I asked for this is, eventually when this is finished, it will come over to my team to manage, from the facilities perspective. And I'm very keen, because I've seen in other jobs that you get given a set of keys and there you go, there's your building. And you go, well, how do I change that light fitting? Why did you put that pump down there? I can't open that boiler access panel. So I'm very keen to try and look at all the detailed design from the forever perspective to make sure I get what I know I can maintain. And the example I gave to one of your colleagues up here is the roof access system. There needs to be some ladders up there, there needs to be some walkways, because if they don't get it right, it's going to cause me untold problems in the future. I've also given the design team, I've got a Genie elevating platform that we own here. It's got a 6.5 or 6 metre reach for a single man. I don't want them putting something 8 metres high in the eaves of the building because I can't get to it. So I've said, I've got that, I want you to design everything to a maximum height of 6 metres to try and influence what I need to, what's going to affect me in the future. So that's my reason for volunteering. Okay?
Dimensional coordination.
Yeah, pretty much. Right, unless there's nothing else.
I've got a question, albeit Lawrence preempted 2 of my questions, thank you. Biggest current challenge now and perceived in that role?
Current challenge now, which I kind of talked about, is the supply and demand really of the available labour, actually. it's very much a contractor's market at present. I mentioned before we've got the London market being very bull at the moment, which is attracting a lot of the skilled labour, and there is a shortage of skilled labour, particularly in mechanical and electrical. So that is a challenge we're facing now, which is reflected, I think, on the tender returns we've just had. And sorry, the second part of your question?
Perceived for the future, what do you think will be a major challenge? What are you preempting?
Until we've got those work packages confirmed, we're still in a certain period of uncertainty. The phase one was fixed and easy to achieve. It's one tender, very simply defined. Because we've got to get 6 tenders done, and then a main contractor being Cardi, happy to appoint them and then coordinate them together. I'd say that coordination of those work packages is a potential issue. One that is not unsolvable through management, but it is a potential issue. And obviously programme as well, that if we don't get it right, there'll be a knock-on effect. We must have this open for September next year. We can't advertise it as the all-new student centre and not have it available for new as a PR issue.
It's like the UTC.
Yes, who didn't finish on time.
Yes, exactly. And
late.
Stockwell Street, your
Yes.
prime example.
Well, it's everything's bespoke, isn't it? These projects are one-offs. It's always best endeavours. We will very much try to achieve it. Equally, we're trying to do a bit of additional work I didn't mention, where you see the site compound here. I'd like to try and accelerate the programme, finish this early, clear out and redevelop this area out here into kind of an external space of seating, and you want to do like outside cinema maybe, or band, or stuff like market, or have you fill out space or something like that. That's another challenge. Okay.
Brilliant. Did you tell them is it parkour story?
Parkour. Oh, okay. And finally, I've got a great video which I can't share with you, but on the elevation around the corner. It was taken by our neighbour's security camera. Before this was as it is now. We just had, in fact, there was no parameter. There was no site borders. The building just sat there and been sat like that for years. There's, do you know parkour? Ever heard of it? The French word for free running. It's basic urban gymnastics. They shin up walls, and well, you didn't think we'd have it in Medway, but yes, we did. And in fact, I'll show you there. I'll show you around the corner there. But they got onto our roof, and he nearly killed himself. And I'll show you how he did it. I'll show you here. We've got it on video.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, be lucky. Yes, what the teenagers did is there was a little brick thing there. They shinned up these downpipes. You can see up there, you've got a large coping, and there's a section missing in the middle. It's actually this one here. You can't move that. And then he was going across these fibres, and it just let go. So he fell from there, landed there, and that coping missed him by about that much, I'd say. And I think he twisted his ankle, but they sprint off in that direction. We've got the whole thing on from that CCTV camera over there. So it's there, but for the grace of God.
It's on YouTube.
No, I'm not going to upload it. But no, in all seriousness, whilst I'm being jovial about it, we actually had responsibility for this building. We took it as it was. It had been like that, as it, there was no protection to the building. It was just vacant, all locked up, all boarded up, all secured. We didn't think someone would climb on our building, but they did. And you've got to learn from that. So I had 200 metres of Harris Fanson put around it 2 days later, because ignorance is no defence when someone gets killed in your sight, unfortunately. So we live and learn. I'm jovial about it, but there is a serious underlining issue that when you have responsibility for a building, even if it's locked, you've got to be very careful. But yes, there you go. This is where he didn't die.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks very much.